You could be anywhere doing anything, but you're hanging out with us. We appreciate that. So wherever you're listening and however you're listening, we appreciate you guys for listening. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another exciting episode of the Gameplan Podcast. Alex Goodwin is my name. You can follow me on Twitter at Alex Goodwin TSM. Again, that's on the artist formerly known as Twitter at Alex Goodwin TSM. That is T as in tacos, S as in sangria, M as in margaritas. Kennedy Miller.
What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing?
Do it all right, man. Do it all right, dog. Where can the folks find you on Twitter, Mr. Miller?
Find me on Twitter at _Kennedy Miller _ Again, that's _Kennedy Miller _
All right, all right. And joining us once again, friend of the show, sinlawpreps.com, is also, we're celebrating happy belated birthday to the big homie, Lamar Gafford. Lamar, what's going on, man?
Thank y'all so much. I'm good, man. I feel like being 38 now makes me unk status, right?
I would say so. Like 38 puts you definitely at like unk, right? You're definitely at unk. You're at the age when you say the certain phrases like these young people today.
Yeah, I sure say that a whole lot. I mean, y'all know I'm a teacher, so I sure say that a whole lot, and also covering high school sports. But yeah, you can also follow me on Twitter at Lamar Gafford, all in one word, at Lamar Gafford, all in one word. So
I do want to ask Lamar, do you ever like, are you at the point, are you like get off my lawn unk? Or are you the unk that still wears the clothes from like 2002, 2003? Are you like Tim Duncan still wearing the Pele? Or are you trying to dress young?
probably more like the Tim Duncan at this point. I'm not really dressing anything like what these young kids are dressing today with the skinny jeans and everything else like that. Nah. That ain't me. That ain't me.
Lamar said, I am not going to Fashion Nova. Lamar said, nope. Because I ain't gonna lie, before we get into it, you know, he used to be a forever young dressing dude.
Oh,
An older man. Because Ken, you remember that time he showed up somewhere with a highlighter green shirt, a hat, and a backpack on. And Ken, you coach AAU basketball, so you see these dudes, and he looks like every AAU coach, and all his team does is full court press. They don't know how to run a play. All they do was press, but that press is hell, though.
absolutely agree. Absolutely agree.
All right. Enough of that. For everybody watching us live here on our official Game Plan Podcast YouTube channel, we appreciate you all. Please leave your questions and your comments here in the comment section. You never know, we might just read it out here on the show. And Lamar, you recently, after everything that's gone on with the Dallas Mavericks, you said you've had enough. You're going to go find someone who appreciates you. And I feel like, Lamar, you are probably thrilled about the choice that you made, because the choice that you made was to go find you a new situation, someone that would love you the way that you deserve. And that new situation is the Indiana Pacers, Lamar. And I feel like you are probably the person that is looking at your old relationship like, man, I should have left so much earlier, right? This is how he opens the door for me. Right. He cooks, he cleans, he listens. I feel like that's how you must be feeling, because the Pacers are up 2-0 on the Cleveland Cavaliers as they're going home to Indiana. So, Lamar, let's just first start off. How is this new relationship going for you, dog?
You know what? I said this in jest. I said, man, maybe how would it feel like being a fan of the Pacers? And right now, they're kind of courting me at this point, because it's like, hey, Tyrese Halliburton. People are saying that he's very overrated. Has not shown that he's been very overrated, because he's definitely been making shots at the biggest point in the time here. But yeah, I don't know what it is about Indiana these last couple of years, these last few years or something like that. It's just, I guess it's just kind of the way that they kind of built up this team here, where Hallie's been doing very great. Getting Siakam really helped at the end of last year. Miles Turner, surprisingly, is still with this team after like 100 years of being there and trade rumors and stuff, and he's still with them. And right now, Indiana is just kind of that team that, I guess it's just like, you know what you're going to get with a Rick Carlisle team. They're not going to lay down. They're not going to go away. They're going to have vets. They're going to play well. and they're going to wow you with your offense and everything else like that. They may not be talented enough in cases here to win a championship, as like he did when he was with the Mavs, but they're always going to give you a good chance, a good opportunity, a good fight here. And I think with them being up 2-0 against the Cavs, that really says something. Now, yeah, the Cavs were without three of their starters, but the thing was the way that they came back in that ball game, still down by double digits, and found a way just to win the ball game. That's huge for them. And if they can just look at it like this, that hey, we could at least win one of these next two games. We're still up 3-1. We still have a very good chance of probably winning game 4, game 5, game 6, game 7, and then we're right back into the conference finals where we were last year. So it's kind of crazy to see what Indiana's been doing so far.
I think for me, the biggest thing I keep thinking about when I'm watching the Pacers is like folks were saying Tyrese Halliburton is extremely overrated. And I don't really know how much that actually has to do with his on the court skill or lack thereof. But I feel like this has much more to do with the fact that Tyrese Halliburton come off like a jackass. I feel like this has much more to do with that, right? In that it seems like every opportunity he has to be a jerk, oh, he'll take it. Right, dude makes the game-winning shot. There's still a still a second and a half on the clock. What does he do? Turns around to the crowd, does the big ball celebration. Right, like never misses a moment to be a grade A asshole. Right, and if you're that guy, I could see why people wouldn't want to deal with you. Right, I could see that. Right, but if you're Cleveland, you really have to think about it like this. I have never, and Ken, you coach AAU, you coach high school ball. The end of that game has to be teach tape for how not to inbound the ball under pressure. That has to be teach tape for how not to get the ball across half court under pressure. That has to be teach tape for how to not blow a 7-point lead in with 48 seconds left. Because most times when people start playing that foul game, you're like, okay, this is going to take there's a minute left on the clock. They're going to it's the NBA. They'll get the ball in. They'll make these free throws. Other team will miss a couple of shots. And, we'll be out here in a minute or two, right? It just depends how long they want to play the foul game, right? And then things just kept breaking right for Indiana, right? Homeboy misses that free throw, gets his own rebound, puts it back up, right? They can't get it into Donovan Mitchell, offensive foul, right? They're back at the free throw line, right? Halliburton misses his free throw. He ends up getting it back, knocks it down, right? So, Ken, if you're coaching Cleveland, what can you tell a team like this when you're down 3 starters, you just blew a lead like this? Like, is there a way you could possibly try to rally the troops, right?
Yeah, I mean, the series is far from over. Donovan Mitchell is a guy that's been in the playoffs before. He's been in situations. He came back from did he come back? No, Denver came back from a 3-1 lead on him.
Yes.
But he's been in plenty of playoff situations where a 2-0 lead is not the end of the world. And if you're trying to look on the bright side, you were up double digits. You were almost up 20 in that game. It's a situation where you should have closed the deal, and you were winning without, like Lamar said, 3 of your starters, right? So there's silver linings there. The thing that makes Indiana so tough is like there is no superstar that you're just penciling in for 30 points. These first 2 games, they've had 6 guys go for double digits in both games. All right, so Halliburton is going to give you double digits. Nembhard, Turner, Siakam, Mathurin, maybe Obi Toppin, right? And I feel like I'm missing somebody else. Whoever else. Nesmith, Aaron Nesmith, double digits, right? So you got 7 guys that could potentially get in double digits, and they play very fast. They don't settle for a lot of bad shots, right? They play with a tempo, and everybody's touching the ball. And yeah, they don't have a star, and so maybe it caps off their ceiling. But in situations like this, right, where there's a wounded team, there's a very good chance, like Lamar said, they'll be back in the Eastern Conference Finals, which many people thought was a fluke last year, including myself. I thought it was a fluke last year. And Tyrese Halliburton, his ability to make big shots, because this is the second big shot of this playoff.
Yeah.
Right. His ability to make big shots and not turn the ball over. Like, they're playing at such a fast pace, and he's only getting like 1 to 2 turnovers per game. Right. So his control of the basketball and not being sloppy with the basketball really helps that team out tremendously.
And I think the thing for a team like Indiana, and it really goes to this broader thing I've been thinking about with like the weakness of the Eastern Conference, Lamar, is this thing that, right, a team like Indiana, which in the West we think would possibly like legitimately be like what, a 7-8 seed at best, right? If they're in the West, they're a 7 or an 8, right? In the East, they're a top 4 seed, and depending on the seeding, they can really make a run, right? So for me, in some points, I'm like, man, I would really like the talent to be like a bit redistributed, right? Because in the Western Conference, we got the 6-7 matchup in the second round, right? But the difference between Minnesota at 6 and the Lakers at 3 was what, a game or a half game?
One game, yeah.
Right. The difference between like 7 and 6 was a half game or was a tiebreaker or something like that, right? Like the West is really, really deep, right? Like we got a 6-7 matchup and no one is like, oh my God, the playoffs are over. Right. You know what I'm saying? And I think for Tyrese Halliburton, it would have been wild. Imagine if his daddy was there.
Oh man.
If Tyrese Halliburton's daddy was there, I think somebody on Twitter said he just probably like 3D power bombed Mrs. Halliburton to a table or something, right? Because I'm not going front. I will say this. You would think, like, people would think that's how LeVar Ball would be out there acting if his kids were like made a game winner. I'm not sure no more, but I will give Giannis incredible restraint, because did you see the way Giannis was looking at him? Right.
They said that's how the gorilla's going to be looking at the first man.
Like, is this man really approaching me? Because Giannis was looking at him like,
doing this?
Giannis was looking at him. You remember in The Wire when Stringer basically told Avon that he got D'Angelo hit in prison? When he was like this, he was like, D'Angelo's death wasn't no suicide, but that was a lot that had to be snatched, Avon. And Avon looked like this. That was Giannis, right? Anytime somebody just looking like this, right? Because I think we all do that sometimes at our jobs, right? When someone says something ridiculous to us, we're like, all right, how much money is in my Bank of America account? Okay, how much money can I set aside for bail? I'm like, all right, I've already paid rent. I've already paid insurance. I think I got $600. Or, damn, I don't have that $600. So let me not slap the taste out of this person's mouth. Right? That's literally what I think was going through Giannis's mind as he was looking at Mr. Halliburton. And I ain't gonna lie, I wouldn't have known that was Mr. Halliburton either, because he don't look not near bit like his son. And imagine a position you got to be in to be Tyrese Halliburton. They got to come to the back and be like, man, your daddy, Giannis is about to slap your daddy.
Man. That's a wild dude for that.
Like, hey, kid, imagine the position that you had to be in. Like, Ken, imagine if your daddy was acting out of pocket. Imagine having to go out publicly and be like, yeah, man, just don't mind my daddy. Right? It's like, imagine the roles are reversed. Well, most times it's the parent looking at us like, don't mind him. He's just, Because Mr. Halliburton had to be at the house like, man, I can't be excited.
He can't even go. He can't even go to the games.
Wait, did they ban him from the arena or something?
Well, I think it was more so of an in-house thing. I think they came to an agreement that he wouldn't be at any more games for the near future.
They're probably gonna put him in the box.
I'm like, that's crazy, dude. That's crazy.
Hey, Morant didn't even get this.
Man, look, they let Charles Oakley come back at some point. Right? Like they're like, hey man, you're not coming for the rest of the year. You're gonna sit at home and watch it on TNT because you don't know how to act.
Right.
But I think, like, back to the basketball of it, a team like Indiana, I think about them the same way I think about that Utah team a few years ago. That was like the 1 seed.
With
Right.
Donovan Mitchell,
Yeah. Gobert.
Gobert,
Yeah.
was it Joe Ingles?
Yeah, Joe Ingles was out there too. Yeah. Like you think about a team that you're like, okay, this is a good team, right? These guys are better together than the sum of its parts, right? I've heard somebody describe teams like this kind of like low spades, right? Or mid to low spades, right? You can win a couple books with this if everybody else is letting some things pass, right? But I think we all think that whoever comes out of New York and Boston is probably going to win that series because what if they're down Ty Jerome, Garland, and DeAndre Hunter? I don't think any of us think Cleveland's going to go to the conference finals, do we?
No, I mean, you say that for any team, if they're down 3 rotation pieces in the second round of the playoffs, it's not likely that they're going to win, right? You take 3 players away from any of these remaining teams that are here. 3 of them are pretty much starters. DeAndre Hunter, I think, comes off the bench sometimes, but 3 of them are pretty much starters. Take away Michael Porter, Aaron Gordon, and Christian Braun. The Nuggets not going to stand a chance either. So it's unfortunate, right? Because when we talk about the playoffs, we always are talking about it in a perfectly healthy way. So it's unfortunate that injuries are playing a part of it, especially how good of a season that Cleveland has had. So I hope those guys can get back, but there's still a chance. They just got to win. They got to win Game 3. Game 3 is a must-win.
Absolutely, absolutely. And speaking of still have a chance, Golden State, they won Game 1 in Minnesota after finishing off the Houston Rockets, but they lost Steph Curry to a blown tire, right? And they think he's going to be out at least for Game 2 and 3, if not for Game 4 as well. And like for me, going into this thing, I thought Golden State would lose this series to Minnesota in the 6 in a perfect world. My biggest thought was Minnesota. I feel like I said the same thing about Houston. Minnesota has length, right? They've got a McDaniels, got an Alexander Walker, right? You can throw on Steph, right? And if Steph is going to score 24, 28, 30, it can't be an easy 24, 28, 30. It can't be 30 points on 10 of 13 shooting. If it's going to be 30, it's going to be 30 points on 22 of 34, right? Or at least try to make it much more difficult for him, right? Because Jimmy Butler is very good, right? But we've all said we don't think Jimmy could be the best player on the championship team. And you add in Minnesota seems to have, shout out to WWE, the legend killer.
Yes.
Anthony Edwards.
That was dope.
They seem to have that guy because he's already put LeBron James up. He's already put his hero Kevin Durant up, right? And talking hot cash to them all. I told you this last year, Ken Lamar, my granddaddy would have referred to Anthony Edwards as, quote unquote, one of these disrespectful young punks who ain't got no respect, right? He got the chance to pack up Steph and Jimmy Butler too. I think Minnesota gets this done, or would get it done even with Steph fully healthy, right? But without Steph, this makes this much harder. Now you got to depend on Buddy Hield, right? And Buddy Hield's played very well the last couple of games, right? But I feel like Buddy Hield, we all went to college. Buddy Hield like a refund check. It's great extra money when you didn't expect it, right? But once you start expecting that money, when you start needing that money ain't there. You know what I'm saying, Lamar?
Yeah, exactly. And like you said here, playoff Jimmy's gonna have to step up here. But like you said, they need more than that. And I don't know. Like I said, if Buddy can keep this going, cool. But I wouldn't expect it at this point. And like you said here, Minnesota pretty much has a good chance of basically winning this thing here. The only way that I probably could think differently here is if Draymond just gets into a tussle with Gobert. But let's hope that Rudy's ready for that, and Draymond's taking his happy pills.
Dog, they be Ken, I'm gonna go to you in a second, bro. They be talking about Draymond Green like an alcoholic or a heroin addict that fell off the wagon, right? Because they're like, this Draymond just needs to keep himself together. He's been doing so well, right? And I do think some of those flagrants, like when Draymond figured out, like, because what was it? Was it game 4 or 5 when Draymond already had a technical, but then he rotated over on the Tari Eason's head, and instead of a technical, they gave him a flagrant. And I was like, all right, he's out of there. And Draymond Green was still sitting there. I'm like, wait, one flagrant and one technical doesn't equal an ejection? And that was, we've been watching basketball a long time. I mean, it's one thing, we've never had somebody get this many flagrants and technicals, right? To where it ever came up. But like when Draymond Green cracked that code, oh man, this is dangerous now. Really dangerous. You know what I'm saying? And let's just say, I hope Rudy Gobert is prepared. I hope he's prepared. I hope he's sleeping with one eye open.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen. I think in the first game, we saw the parallels of like having rest versus coming out of a game 7 and having to play in 48 hours. Like Minnesota clearly was rusty. Right, Golden State's defense is better than the Lakers' defense. So I mean, it wasn't going to be as like they weren't going to get as great of looks as they got against the Lakers. But I stopped counting after 13. They started off 0 for 13 from 3. Anthony Edwards had 1 point at halftime. Some of that is better defense, but I mean, some of that is, could you attribute it to you haven't played since Wednesday? And you got to think like the NBA season is a 82-game season, right? Guys aren't usually getting from Wednesday to Tuesday off, or Wednesday to Monday off, and to play on Tuesday. And on the flip side, Golden State, they just played Saturday night or Sunday night. They look like a well-oiled machine, right? And then, one of the things that we talked about with Golden State and teams like the Lakers, the age, the wear and tear, right? Steph Curry's hamstring. Are they going to be able to hold up against another bigger physical team that is going to pretty much do a lot of the same things that the Rockets did? They might not throw as many zones and be able to go those 2 big lineups like they did with Steven Adams and Sengun. But the difference with this team is they actually got a star. So down the stretch of those close games, they know who they're going to. They're going to 5. And they're going to live with the results. And so I was really excited for this series. I still am. It's unfortunate that Steph is hurt. But, I wanted to see Ant-Man go against Steph. You said it. He knocked off LeBron. He's knocked off KD. He's knocked off Jokic, right? Can he knock off the Warriors too? Can they make it to the Western Conference Finals? And I think they got a good chance. I think ultimately it's going to wear on the Warriors, that size and that physicality. And I thought down the stretch of that game, they started to kind of get their rhythm, right? You saw, I think Ant had 1 point at halftime. I want to say finished with 22.
Yeah.
Maybe. So, like, they started to get their rhythm. That guys were hitting shots. But I'm not going to lie. When Julius Randle shot that 3 and it hit off the side of the backboard, I was a little bit triggered. Because I could almost tell you that it was going to happen. Those shots that he was making, Naz Reid, Jaden McDaniels, right? All them, like, they were just on fire against the Lakers. When that shot smacked off that side of the backboard, I said, that is the Julius Randle I thought I was going to see in the first round. But, again, they ain't played since Wednesday. So I'll give them some love. I think they'll win it, like you said. I think they'll win it in 6.
Lamar?
Same. I think they'll probably win it in 6 as well. This is going to be a little bit too much talented in this case here. And of course, even if Steph comes back, he's going to not come back at 100% at this point. So you got to go with the younger team in this case, the more talented team, and that's a little bit hungry in this case. Ant-Man's got this, I feel like, 6 games as well.
I think something I thought about, man, is that do y'all remember what was it, about 6 years ago when Chris Paul, James Harden, and the Rockets took the Warriors to 7 games?
Oh my gosh.
What?
OG just dunked Derek White. And they called a charge.
All right, they're showing me the replay. They're showing us the replay.
Challenge it, please.
Oh, come on.
No.
You got to give him that.
Charge.
He's outside the cylinder. He still got to sign the ball, though. Derek White still got to sign the ball. Yeah, it looked like a charge. He's outside the cylinder. Derek White a better man than me. I'd let him go. Look, if I'm OG Anunoby, I'm still like, yo, y'all make that a poster.
Yeah.
Y'all make that a poster. Like, you know how people in college. You just saw Lamar.
Yeah. Yeah, I just saw it. Yeah, my God. Ugh.
Yeah. Ugh. Hey, yo, that's like, you know how you in high school football or whatever, man, they call a touchdown back for holding. You like, no, still put that on the tape, though.
Yeah.
That ain't got nothing to do with me. Like, that hold was 45 yards behind the play. Nah, I still made that happen. If I'm OG, I'd be furious. And speaking of, right, is it just me or does watching the Boston Celtics, the reigning defending NBA champions, infuriate you? Because I'm not going to lie. It frustrates me to watch the Celtics play basketball. Like, this 3-point revolution, it's time for it to stop. All right? Because I sound like Lamar, I sound like an unk. I know I probably sound like my granddaddy or the old man at the barbershop who's like, why do they have to put the ball between their legs to do a chest pass? I probably sound like that guy, right? But Win is watching a team put up 63-point shots and only make 15 of them. Like, they shot 23s in the fourth quarter and made one of them.
They missed 45 threes. I think that was a record.
Yeah, it was bad. Like, it was horrific. Like, even tonight, they got a steal, right? And then throw it to Peyton Pritchard, misses a 3. Get a rebound, throw it back out Drew Holiday. He misses a 3, right? Jaylen Brown, who with that haircut looked like he's about to go to court, right? Rips it back out. 4, go to the basket, guys. And mathematically, it makes sense why we have gone to shooting more 3s. You get one more point, right? But at a certain point, we got to stop this, right? They are 6 of 25 from 3.
That's how they won the championship last year, Alex.
They made more than 6 of these, though.
Well, I mean,
right.
So glass half full. They missed the NBA record 45 threes, and they lost in overtime. And they pretty much had control of the whole game.
That's my thing, though. They was up 20. If you just continue to do what they was doing, hunting Jalen Brunson on the switch, and go from there. Like, I hear you, Ken. I do. Right? But it's like there's no reason they should have even lost that game. Like, they're up 18 right now. Right?
I agree.
But even with the Celtics, right? Has it ever felt like when the Celtics have a lead, like it's ever safe, guys?
So that's been my whole thing with the Celtics for the last, since they won the championship last year. I didn't feel like they were – it's tough to say that about a champion, but I didn't feel like they were ever really tested. We've gone over the teams, like we've watched the teams that have challenged them. And last year they went through – who did they play in the first round? They swept them. They played Miami without Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
Then they played
Cleveland.
Then they played Indiana. And this year they play Orlando, which Orlando's a good young team, right? And they're playing New York. So I feel like this is the first test. And I don't think New York is a true contender either because they haven't beat a contender this year. Like, this was the first time they beat a top 3 seed in the East this year, that first game, which, by the way, New York had constructed this whole roster for this series.
Yes.
They constructed their entire roster for this series. Traded 4 or 5 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges. Blew up the Villanova thing to be in this series right here. And I don't know if they really were to go through a team, like if they really were to go through a healthy Giannis, because I think Giannis can pose issues for them. A healthy Giannis, they beat the Sixers. They're always going to beat the Sixers because Embiid's never going to be healthy. And I was looking forward to them playing Cleveland, a healthy Cavs team, or on the West if they play Oklahoma City. I want to see if their analytics, if the things that they're doing can translate to another really good team. And then they played Dallas in the championship, which Dallas was good, but Luka was a little banged up, right? They were able to take care of them pretty much with ease. They're a good team. They're deep, right? Their top 6 is like one of the best top 6s in basketball. Drew Holiday, Porzingis, Tatum, Brown, Horford, Derek White. But I don't know. It's just it's something that's always off with me about them. It's not like they don't seem as like a true juggernaut. And I say this, and if I had to pick somebody to win a championship right now, it would probably be them.
And that's like the wildest part.
Like to repeat.
Right? Yeah, like what Boston won like what 66 games or something last year?
Yeah.
Like they won an insane number of games. They were the best team in basketball last year by a mile, right? In all last year, up until they actually hoisted the trophy, we were like, them boys still gonna fall apart, right?
Yep.
Because so many moments with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown of them either falling apart or not rising to the occasion, right? Like the fact that they got down 3-0 to Miami 2 years ago is like still like so inexcusable to me. They win the next 3, but at that point they couldn't, they had expended all of their energy just getting it to a 7th game, but they didn't have anything left. But it's like this should have never came to this.
Yep.
These guys were never better than you. What are y'all doing? Right. And so and I can almost sort of say the same thing like with Denver, right? Like Denver, because I think the big thing you're basically saying, Ken, is that like Boston don't feel like champions. Like nothing about them, like we don't give them the benefit of the doubt that, oh, these guys are champions.
Yep.
Right. These guys are battle tested. They've been through the ringer. We're not like, oh yeah, Boston has the edge in this series because they've gone to how many conference finals and 2 finals and they finally won one. These guys, like, there's not a situation that they haven't seen. They've been up 3-0. They've been down 3-0. They've come back from all the way back from 3-0 down 0-3 in the series.
Mm-hmm.
We're not saying that about Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, right? Even though, like, theoretically, you think we would. You know what I'm saying, Lamar?
Right. Yeah, exactly. And the crazy thing is we've seen them grow up before our eyes and play a lot of playoff basketball, but we've also seen their lows at this point too. And Jason Tatum gave us kind of one of those lows in the game in the last game where game is very close in the close moments here. He has a chance of just taking it inside, but now he settles for a tough contested jumper, and next thing you know, Knicks win the ball game. And so it's like what you said about the 3-point revolution right there. It's they make everything is easy for them. Obviously, they can shoot threes and everything else like that, but sometimes it just make it so damn hard on themselves and everything. It's kind of like the Rockets in 2018 that if they were to probably not, miss 27 threes, who knows? They probably would be winning a championship by now or having at least a championship right now or something like that. But no, they decided to be dorks and decided to audit the series and decided, well, this is the reason why we lost the game and not because we missed 27 threes.
And I do want to say this now that I'm thinking about New York, right? If New York is going to win this series, you know who their best player is going to have to be, right?
New York. If you say New York is going to win the series?
Yep.
Karl Anthony Towns.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
if they gonna win this thing, it's gonna have to be him. Like I love Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson is like a great like NBA like development story in the same sort of way that like a Kawhi Leonard was, you know. But what he's about 6'1" maybe.
That dude is, yeah, he's probably like 6'1" on a good day. He is earning my respect this playoffs.
Man,
like
he
really,
hurt.
really, one of the main takeaways for me is the point guards of the East. Like obviously we know the ones in the West, but Jalen Brunson, Halliburton, Cade Cunningham, those guys are up and coming. Well, I wouldn't say Jalen Brunson's up and coming, but those guys can play, man. Like they've had some big playoff moments, and I will say, like this playoffs, like when is the last time we've seen 2 back-to-back games that finished like that? Denver and New York Boston game.
Man, I feel like that's been happening like every night though. Like,
and this is without the guys that we like. This is without KD, Steph, LeBron. Like, it's that page is closing, right? And it was 6 straight hours of great basketball.
And like you saying that we don't have the previous era of headliners, right? We are moving into a new era. So on one hand, right, like we would have loved to see Steph, LeBron, like last time, what WrestleMania in Seattle 2002, Stone Cold and The Rock one more time, right? We would have loved to see that, right? But it is time for the proverbial Brock Lesnar. It is time for the John Cena, right? It is time for the Randy Ortons, right? It is time for that next generation. Because if we're really thinking about it, Steph Curry is in year 16. LeBron James is in year 20, right? KD, the only other player that is still in the league from Kevin Durant's draft class 2007 is Mike Conley, right? You think about it. Kawhi Leonard is in what, year 14? Paul George in year 15. James Harden, Russell Westbrook, year 16, right? It's about like this era, the era that Ken, me, and you really grew up watching the NBA. That era is just about over, right? And so for the NBA, I really want the league to like lean into this, right? Because Ant-Man is that's your like, as far as American stars, John Morant has messed a lot of things up, partly because his fascination with guns, and they ain't winning enough in Memphis, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Anthony Edwards, as much as he don't want to be the guy, you know how sometimes in church, Kennedy, they say you can walk away from your calling all you want to, right? They had a little bit of that in Jonah. You can walk away as far as you think you want to, but your calling is still your calling. I didn't want to preach today. Anthony Edwards, brother, you need to walk in your season. You the man.
The last thing I'll say about the Knicks Celtics, the best thing that happened was that they won that game. Because if the Knicks can win one more and maybe it gets to like a 2-2 series with a game 6 in Madison Square Garden, that'll be the most important Knicks game of this century.
Didn't they have a game 7 at home recently?
Not to go to the conference finals.
That's fair. Last year, yeah.
Yes, that's fair. That's fair. Ken. That's fair.
Not to go to the conference finals and against the champions.
I'd agree.
Yeah. Like that is, and that'll be a game where, you know, Jaylen Brown goes for 40 or Jason Tatum goes for 45. That's a playoff moment. That's a defining moment right there. Like you on the road in Madison Square Garden and your team needs you to come up big in this game. That's what'll make me be like, that was the stuff of a champion. That was the work of a champion right there.
And I think like part of it with the who was that? With Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, I think like they take such difficult shots, right? Mm-hmm. And Jason Tatum especially, and Ken, Lamar, guys, has it been long enough to where I can say what I'm about to say? I hope so. right? I hope a subset of NBA fans won't like try to like blow up my spot. Like them Beyonce fans, you say anything bad about Beyonce, right? But them Kobe stands ain't much different.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Them Kobe stands like Tupac stands, man. They'll show up at your job. They act a fool.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think it's been long enough. R.I.P. to Kobe, right? But the whole thing about the Mamba mentality, right? It seems to me, at least me, the willingness to take terrible shots. The willingness to take extremely difficult shots, right? Like there is one thing about, yeah, you're not scared of the moment. Sure, the moment's never too big. Yes, but brother, is it quality or is it quantity? Right? Because it feels like a lot of these people with the Mamba mentality value neither. Right? They're gonna throw up a whole bunch of shots and they're not gonna be good. Because what is Jason Tatum's go-to shot? Right? Other people you could really think about, we know what their go-to shot is. We know what their go-to, we need a bucket. We know where they're going to go. Kawhi Leonard, we know when they need a bucket, we know where he's going to ask for the ball, right? What is Jason Tatum's go-to? I'm going to take a contested step back from the left wing after dribbling the air out of the ball and leave the clock with like, what, 2 seconds?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, but again, if the Kobe stands come looking for me, don't get in people my address.
That's crazy because I feel like I had that take around like 3 or 4 years ago, and yeah, I
People
don't know
yelled at you.
I don't know if I said it on air because I didn't want people.
You were scared,
but it got to a point, and it's not Kobe's fault, but it got to a point where like the assumption of Mamba mentality of NBA players was like this guy takes difficult fadeaway shots and they like Kobe growing up, and that's not the Mamba mentality. So I don't know, like it was like a whole crew of like Tatum and Kyrie and DeMar DeRozan and Paul George to an extent, but stop it. Okay? Stop, because I still haven't all the way forgiven Jason Tatum for texting Kobe, I got you. I got you. And
texting
like,
a dead man.
Like that's top 5 corniest things I've ever seen. And then posting it too. Like, so I was trying to let him live, and then you brought that back up, and now I'm looking at him differently again.
Wait, the whole part about like they didn't cut that phone number off. You just like whatever happened to just like what did Dexter open the locker and they had a picture of Future up in there? How come he couldn't just do that at his house? Because I feel like Jason Tatum the type to have a Kobe shrine at the house. Like I feel like he totally has a Kobe shrine, right? And that's fine. But again, it's one of them things like, why did you have to show us this? Like this is like perpetually like one of them people who seems to live online. Like at the end when they won that title, why did it seem like Jason Tatum spoke in memes?
Yeah. If the,
like
opportunity presents itself, he's gonna end up a Laker. Just off the pure love that he had for Kobe and the things that I could see him doing, if the opportunity presents itself, he is gonna end up a Laker.
If he did that, I'm gonna tell you something. I don't know if y'all ever have heard of the Boston busing crisis in the 1970s.
Jesus.
I don't know if you've ever heard of that. There's a great audio book on Spotify about it. Check it out. Check out the Murder in Boston documentary. They talk about a little bit of that, but I'm going to tell you right now. Let Jason Tatum go to the Lakers and see if it don't sound like that. See if it don't look like that. I keep telling people, them folks in Boston will make January 6th look like a kindergarten field day. We've seen them act a fool in Boston.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I would hope he wouldn't do that for his own safety. I would hope. But it wouldn't shock me. Let's say he does become a Laker, right? Let's say in the off chance he does, right? That just seems like if you're Jason Tatum, that would be like the craziest, most ridiculous thing ever, because that would not seem enjoyable, right? Because anybody that comes to the Lakers now, like over the past, 25 years, the Laker that we think of is Kobe Bryant, right? Like we don't think of Shaq, right? We're of an era. We're not thinking about Magic or Kareem or Jerry West, right? We think about Kobe. Kobe is the Laker, right? Like LeBron is going to retire. We're not going to think of LeBron as a Laker. We're going to just think of LeBron as like LeBron. You know, Luka gonna have that same problem, right? Like you are in a Kobe town. All people gonna do is be like, here's why you not Kobe, dog. Here's why you aren't that guy, right? So if you're Jason Tatum, I don't know if I would do that. Be like, brother, just keep on sending imaginary text to a dead man and keep it pushing. Like, just do that. Or maybe go to the Lakers on the video game. I know you probably got 2K. Just do it on the game. You could do it
on the My Player.
Yes, do it on the My Player. MP assigned with the Lakers. Don't do this in real life, brother. Reconsider. Read some literature on the subject. That's all I'm saying. But I do have one more question for you guys. All right. OKC, Denver. Who do you have taking it and going to the Western Conference Finals?
I got OKC winning. I think that was a really bad loss for them to give up home court advantage in that way, right? A couple of coaching things that could have been done differently. They're up by 3. Coaches, well, a lot of times in NBA, I don't know why they don't do it more, but foul when you're up 3, send them to the free throw line so they can only shoot 2 free throws instead of getting off of 3. But you cannot foul like with 10 seconds left. Like you got to let time go up. You're supposed to do it like under 7, but you can't do it under 5 because then guys are looking to shoot it. You don't want to get nobody in the shooting, like while they're in the shooting motion. So you're supposed to foul when you're up 3, but I don't know. Like they fouled with like 10 seconds left. Then they took a timeout. They ended up like taking 2 straight timeouts to inbound the ball when you should have saved the timeouts because you can inbound the ball. You're a professional team. And so they missed 2 free throws by Chet, which, by the way, it is crazy because everybody's been talking about it too. It is crazy how you can tell through the TV by looking at a professional basketball player's face when they're going to miss free throws. Like you can tell when people look like they're going to make it, like they're confident about it. And when you like, this dude's about to trick these free throws off, isn't he? And I knew, looking at Honest Abe's face, I knew he was going to miss those. I knew it.
What's that? He's Abraham Lincoln.
He looks like Abe. I knew, looking at his face, he was going to miss those free throws. And he misses both. And of course, and then the shocking thing to me, Russell Westbrook actually made a great decision down the stretch of a game. Because I would have bet money when he caught that ball on the wing that he was gonna go in the lane and try and shoot up a floater that went over the rim. And he made a great pass to Aaron Gordon who knocked it down, and now OKC doesn't have any more timeouts. And so you give a team that, obviously they're not as good as they were 2 years ago, but they're still a championship proven team. You just let them steal the first game at your place. That's a game you got to close. And again, like you were talking about the fouling game that people play. Well, on the opposite side, if you have the lead, the one thing you cannot do is stop the clock. Like they had a couple of fouls down the stretch with like 3 minutes left where they're stopping the clock and Denver's already in the bonus. So they're able to trim down that lead from 9 to 7, 5. And now they got a chance to get back in it without running any time off the clock. So I still got OKC in 6, but I think they made it more difficult than it needed to be after losing that first game.
I think Oklahoma City's going to get this done. How confident am I? I'm confident, but I'm like, 65-35. That Oklahoma City's going to get this done, right? Because who is OKC's number 2 guy, right? And because we don't think it's Chet, right? And I did look up a picture of Abraham Lincoln and Chet Holmgren side by side, and we're gonna have to do they do a Find My Roots for white people with Henry Louis Gates?
Ancestry.com.
Yeah, I mean, do they do Finding My Roots for white folks? If they did, they need to have Chet Holmgren on there, right? Like they totally need to do this, because this is more than a coincidence, right? Like, this isn't just like, oh, Pharrell looks like this, some Native American leader from 200 years ago. Oh no, this looks we need to check this out. And Abraham Lincoln was like 6'4", 6'5", wasn't he?
Yeah, he's pretty tall.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Bro, you gotta stop hollering like that. You scare me.
I'm sorry. I think I just saw the worst free throw
Did
I've ever seen in my life. Did you see this?
Oh my god! Yes, I just saw it. You're ahead of me.
I'm about to see this too.
That's the worst free throw I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, he's short arm that so bad.
Listen,
Hey,
Alex and Lamar, we've seen some terrible free throw shooters in our lifetime. Ben Wallace, Shaq,
Dwight Howard.
I've
Tim
never
Duncan.
seen anybody flick that under the rim like that.
Hey,
Are
dude.
you
Okay,
kidding me?
You know why he's lucky? It would probably have been worse. People just holler air ball. If you air ball like that at a high school game with your older brothers there or something like that, they gonna clown you mercilessly. I'll never forget.
Oh my gosh.
One of my classmates was, he's at the free throw line. His older brother and his friends were on the sideline. They in high school. We in like 8th grade. They heckling him. It's the A team. B team, we had already played, right? So they heckling him. He at the free throw line. They heckling. You could tell. Ken, like you said, when people go to the free throw line, you can just look at their face. You can tell, are they going to sing these calmly? Or are they going to pull a Nick Anderson, right? You can tell, right? He gets up to the free throw line. He dribbles, gets down there. Ken, he airballs the first one. And these fools just fell out. His brothers, and they're just falling out laughing. And mind you, it's not a big gym, so you feel bad, right? Because, at something like this, you can't hear everybody. They just gonna holler air ball, but it ain't 15, 20,000 people laughing at you, right? But Mitchell Robinson, again, we talk about teach tape for how not to shoot a free throw.
That was awful.
I just saw that. Come on, Mitchell. Man, you gotta put on for Louisiana, man. You gotta
Is he from Louisiana?
man. Yeah, Chalmette, New Orleans.
Oh yeah. I'm like, that ain't your neck of the woods, Lamar. Look, he embarrassing the whole squad, ain't he?
Yeah.
Oh.
Y'all got to hang that Florida Leah in shame, because that was bad. That was bad. Oh, they just showed the Celtics 3-point percentage, 10 for 35. Much better than 15 for 60.
Jesus.
But yes, we're gonna go to some of the fan questions and comments here. We got one that says, Joel Embiid. Let's put it on the screen from the homie Matt. Joel Embiid is the second coming of James Harden.
Whoa.
Are we talking about
Joel Embiid got to get to the conference finals first?
That is fair. Yo, that's so true. Like what? Embiid been in the league 10, 11 years?
He was drafted in that 14 draft with Andrew Wiggins.
Yeah. He's never been to the conference finals, right?
Finals.
But he up there though, with the coming up short and the falling apart. He up there though.
Well, yeah.
Embiid right up there with Harden though.
James Harden. There is no myth about it anymore. There is no hating. This is the reality that we're in. He is a playoff faller. That's just what he is. Phenomenal regular season player. A lot of times people have this like stigma, and sometimes it can be like a little bit overused and maybe not all the way true. It's been too many times. It's been too many times for it to be seen otherwise. I'm tired of seeing that Harden is better than Dwayne Wade takes because it's just simply not true. He is one of the best like floor raisers that the league of his generation. He's never gonna not make the playoffs. They're always gonna make the playoffs. A lot of times they're gonna win 50 games. But he doesn't have like another gear to get to. And I don't get it. But one of the worst things you can see in like an elimination game or like a game 7 like they were just in against Denver is your star not emptying the chamber. Like, you can't be the star of the team and only shoot 8 shots. And only score what, 7 points, 6 points?
7 points, 12 assists.
Like, if I'm gonna have a bad shooting night, I'm gonna be like Kobe in game 7 where he went like 6 for 28 or 6 for 24, whatever it was.
Mamba mentality.
But I've seen it too many times. That time he played against the Spurs, game 6 at home. No Kawhi, no Tony. I don't think.
No Tony. LaMarcus Aldridge wasn't playing well, and James was drunk.
Like, and he had like 11 points or
11
maybe less than that.
And they started DeJounte Murray at point guard, and San Antonio beat them by like 40. And it was like, and Mike D'Antoni was just sitting there on the bench, just spinning the grease board. Like, if I feel like it took everybody else 7, 8, or 9 years, but I feel like that Michael Irvin clip. Now everybody is seeing what I see, right? Because Kennedy Miller, you remember 8, 9 years ago when I was on KPVU and I was saying this and people were calling in talking about I'm lying. I'm just a hating Spurs fan or whatever. You remember those days, Kennedy Miller. You were there, right? Yep. Everybody else remembers all these. For years, I had been saying James gonna come up short. Everything look fine and good right now, but when it comes time, when it's time for the time, and it's time for James Harden to beat James Harden and beat a man, he ain't got it. I've been saying this for, I feel like, going on 10 years now. And at this point, if I went chapter and verse, I'd be sitting here doing this. Game 6 against Golden State in 2015, 13 turnovers. And I'd just be going down the list and hitting this number, and hitting this number, and hitting this number, just turning the page, right? We got, what, dating back to 2012? When he was in Oklahoma City, that finals, we have almost 15 years of data that this man comes up small. And you can tell the moment's too big for, you can just, you can just look at him. Like game 6s and 7s, he's worse. He is like legitimately worse. And we keep saying this. And Ken, I asked you this question, like, I think in a text like 5-6 years ago. I said, what is James Harden's positive career defining playoff moment? We can say like positive, like they're going to put on James Harden's like Hall of Fame induction reel. All of it's going to be regular season tape.
Yes. He had a game in Philly. I want to say he had 40 in Boston and he hit the shot to win it. Maybe like game 1 or game 3, 2 or 3 years ago?
Yeah.
Right.
But other than that, especially like, and I'm trying to think of like I'm not saying every playoff game is not meaningful, but I mean, the Rockets are supposed to beat the Jazz. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to think of like a meaningful series that they were in that he had a great game. And maybe I'm missing it because all the games that I'm thinking about were regular season.
Yeah.
Like when he hit that shot in Golden State to win it that night, that was a regular season game.
Yeah.
Like when it was like that, he caught it on the inbounds, he took a couple of dribbles, pulled up. That was a regular season game. We remember the failure of San Antonio. I definitely remember the failure of the Clippers. When they came back, but that was Josh Smith and Jason Terry and Corey Brewer.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, when no James Harden clips in that game 6. Now, I kind of remember the game 7. I need to go back and watch the game 7, but I don't remember any special performance out of that. I just think the Clippers folded.
Which it seems like at this point, Donald Sterling has a doll, right? And he's just poking it. Just you like it don't matter if you move into a new $1 billion arena. It don't matter. You change the uniform, you change the logos, you do whatever. You still the Clippers.
The Clippers
right.
are
They are the rough spot.
I don't know what else they do. Like maybe you try and put your name in the hat for Giannis. But like I don't know, bro.
Ken, I said this, and Lamar, I'm showing to you here in a second. Ken, I said this to you on the text the other day. I said the only real move you don't really have a lot of draft picks. All like Kawhi's 33. James Harden's older than that. Norman Powell's up there. The only like young-ish piece that you have is like that's worth something is Zoo, right? Yep. That's all you really have that can be able to like net you something because they don't have young players, right? They don't have any of their picks, right? And this roster's maxed out. And they got what? It was a perfect world this year. And here's what I mean by that. Kawhi Leonard was healthy.
Yep.
Right. Made it through the playoffs. And they still couldn't get past the first round, right? Like they lost to a team that fired the coach and the GM 2 weeks ago. Like now, mind you, great 7-game series.
Sure.
Like it was a phenomenal series, and of course
they didn't get embarrassed.
Right. Like we knew that series was gonna go 7. We just didn't think like if they lose game 7 and it's tighter than that, I feel like we feel differently about the way the series went. But it felt like they let go of the rope. And Lamar, the only thing I can possibly think of that LA can do because their roster's kind of tight and locked in. Right, they kind of stuck with the roster that they have. Is fire the coach.
Yeah, sadly. I mean, Lou obviously is one of the best coaches that we have in the NBA, but the question would be is how much further can he get with this team? Or how many times that you're going to hit your head on the ceiling until you have to make that decision right there. And sadly, yeah, that's probably going to have to be the case there. Maybe they do need somebody that can give them a new voice in there, like they did with Doc when they blew that 3-1 lead against the Nuggets in 2020. So, yeah, I mean, I don't see any other way they could probably do to make that roster even better because, like you said, they don't have that many young pieces. Zubac is the only one, and if you're now going to trot out the an AARP team, I mean that's going to be, I wouldn't advise that.
Go ahead, Ken.
I think you can also dangle Norman Powell. He had a really good year. I think you can dangle him in some trade discussions, and see what you can figure out. The only thing that I would have, I get what y'all were saying about the coaching change, but they fired Doc for Tyronn Lue, who had already won a championship with the Cavs. Like my question is, you're firing the top 5 coach. Who are you bringing in? Jeff Van Gundy, right? Are you promoting him? Right? Like, I don't know. I don't think that would be the move because I was reading something the other day where they're saying that their organization, Ty Lue, Lawrence Frank, Steve Ballmer, they have a pretty close relationship. They don't feel like any changes need to be made as far as coaching. And maybe sometimes the best thing is to run it back. You know what I mean? Like, and maybe you get a more favorable matchup in the next year. You get another year of guys being around each other, have another year of chemistry, hopefully another year of, Kawhi, sit him out the whole first half of the year,
season,
right? And just bring him back the second half and gear him up for the playoffs, and hopefully you get a favorable matchup. The only thing, though, we're all assuming the West is going to be better.
Which is like literally what I was about to say. Next year, right? And I was going to say
is going to be healthy.
Yes, big parlay. Victor going to be healthy. He coming, right?
Mm-hmm. If I had to guess, I think Giannis would be coming to the West. Don't know where, but I would think.
Yeah, right. Like, and then if we really like think about it, right? Other than what? Portland's actively trying to win too, right? The only team in the Western Conference that's not actively trying to win games right now is like Utah. Everybody else is trying to win games, right? Portland is trying to win games. They ain't very good, but they trying.
Yep.
Right.
Like they finished the year pretty well. Like they were at one point, they were like 3 games out of the play-in.
Yeah. New Orleans is, if they're healthy.
Come on now.
Big if they're healthy, they're gonna try to win some games next year, right? Phoenix is gonna try to win some games. They ain't gonna win a damn thing.
Yeah.
Right. But they're gonna try. Like, they're gonna be mediocre. Dallas is going to have what? Not Kawhi, Kyrie Irving.
Oh, yeah.
And Anthony Davis.
Not about Dallas.
Right. And Dallas is gonna make a break because they're gonna send a mob to Nico Harrison's house.
Defense wins championships.
Right. What a fool. Like, I mean, I'll say this about Nico, right? I can see what Nico meant about why he saw Luka Doncic kicking it the way he does. Like, maybe this ain't gonna work, right? Like, it makes sense about, like, that's not the craziest thing I've ever heard, right? To being like, this guy that's fat and out of shape who doesn't play defense, why this guy can't be the best player on a team that wins something. I could see that. Would I have gone about it the way that he did? Absolutely not.
Hey, everyone, we're shopping Luka Doncic. Send in your best offers in my voicemail, and I'll listen.
Right. And I think something about this that is kind of gone undercovered is, if you are Luka, right, it is a damning indictment of you that, like, if you think like the girl you wanted don't want you no more. Because they basically were like, the Mavericks, we're breaking up with you, right? Yes, you're great. Yes, you're all this other stuff, but this ain't going to work long term. That's damning. And we're talking about next year, the Lakers will be back, right? Luka Doncic, they'll at least be, some version of competitive.
Yeah, they're going to address some needs. So there'll be a force.
I'm not sure about force. Luka might be a force at the buffet table, but
I mean, they're not far off though. They need some athleticism.
I'm being silly. Hold on.
This is about to be a 1-point game, by the way.
In Boston is about to blow yet another lead. I don't know if Doc Rivers goes to these places and like leaves some hoodoo or whatever, right? But between the Clippers and the Celtics, right? This is like, the spirit of Doc Rivers is alive and well in that place.
Doc said, "Do not put this on me." It's been 2 coaches since Doc is gone.
Shoot, man. Look, but blowing leads, that never leaves. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
They are about to blow this. They are about to blow this. Straight up blow it. They are on New York is on a 17-2 run.
I've been watching, and I've just been waiting for Boston to hit a shot.
And Jason Tatum takes another fadeaway, terrible shot. I said it, Ken.
Mamba mentality.
That man is rolling over.
This is what the Knicks spent all this money on. This is what they did all these offseason moves for. Chill out, JV.
Sure.
Don't you do that.
Jalen Brunson knocks it down.
Look, as a person that
listen, he's the best point guard in the East.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't care what Tyrese Halliburton
cheers for.
Oh my!
What the hell kind of shot is that?
Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
they are gonna blow 2 in a row.
Oh my god!
They are gonna blow 2 in a row.
Don't you do this! Don't you do this to him again?
Oh man, they about to send Al Horford to the retirement home.
Cheeto sitting front. Way to not get switched off, Drew.
Oh man, damn!
Oh,
wow,
damn!
Way to not get switched off.
What the heck? At least Jason, you talk about wild stuff in the NBA playoffs, and this has honestly been like my favorite NBA playoffs. We got to get out of here in a hot second. We're running up on time. This has probably been my favorite NBA playoffs in like the last 5 to 7 years, because every single night we've had banger after banger after banger. Every night, kid, I feel like you're texting me or I'm texting you. Now that was a game.
Yep. That is an offensive foul, ref. Oh.
Yeah.
They are going to lose.
Like,
JB, don't you dare.
Got him. These boys are on a 21-2 run.
Oh, him. I know Bill Simmons is losing his mind right now.
Bill Simmons throwing stuff all over the house.
meanwhile, Stephen A. Smith.
Oh, man. Stephen A. Smith might start crying on TV in the morning.
Oh, my God.
He might actually have a sermon about the Knicks.
At what point are they going to consider Brunson or Cat the best Knick player of all time?
No time soon.
You don't
No
think
time
so?
soon. Hell no.
What if they make the finals?
Patrick Ewing, Clyde Frazier.
Hello?
Right? Like we hey, man. Look,
I mean, they're moving up the ranks of Knick greats.
See, we look. Jay Williams started to see. I don't want to start cussing. Because I got to edit all this out later. Right?
It's not crazy. It's not crazy to say.
I mean, I'll say I give him this, right? Best, like Jalen Brunson, best New York Knicks of the past 25, like one of the best New York Knicks of the past 25 years.
Has he surpassed Carmelo Anthony?
Melo never made it out of the second round, did he?
What I'm saying, no.
Right, I'm saying if Melo makes it, if
no,
not
JB, no. Oh, what did they call?
I think they called foul. I think they called defensive fouls. I think they're gonna go to the line. Foul on your man OG.
No way.
Call the foul on your man OG. Yeah, he's
bounds.
out of bounds. I think OG's out of bounds.
He's just out of bounds. That's all.
Yeah. Folks, we got to run because we want to watch the end of this game ourselves. So Lamar Gafford, my guy, let folks know where they can find you on the artist formerly known as Twitter, and where they can find your work, SinLawPreps.com, man.
All right. Once again, Lamar Gafford on Twitter. Lamar Gafford, all in one word on Twitter. You can find me also Instagram, Primetime2832. And you can also find me my works on SinLawPreps.com with a lot of the goings on in Central Louisiana sports. So there we go.
All right. Kennedy Miller, my guy.
Yes, sir.
Where can the folks find you on Twitter, dog?
Find me on Twitter _ Kennedy Miller _ Again, that's _ Kennedy Miller _
All right. You guys can follow me on the artist formerly known as Twitter at Alex Goodwin TSM. Again, that's on Twitter at Alex Goodwin TSM. That's T as in Timberwolves, S as in Spurs, like San Antonio Spurs, M as in margaritas. Again, follow the Gameplan Podcast on Instagram at _ the Gameplan Podcast. Again, on Instagram at _ the Gameplan Podcast. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Gameplan Podcast official YouTube channel where you are watching this very here video. Wherever you're listening and watching, however you're listening and you're watching, we appreciate you guys for listening and for watching. For Kennedy Miller and Lamar Gafford, my name is Alex Goodwin. This has been the Gameplan Podcast. We will see you guys next time. Take it easy.